Okay, the next passage is called New Treasures. And if you go to the top, it says, before he submits the paper to his school newspaper, he would like you to read it and suggest any corrections that he needs to make. Okay? So, whenever we see a passage that says any, this is going to be an editing passage, and they're going to ask us cups, capitalization, usage, that's subject-verb agreement, and punctuation, and spelling. Every time I have a word that's asking me about spelling, I'm going to use the dictionary. Okay, so first we're going to always go to questions. We're going to analyze each question, what they are asking us to do. All right. So let's go. Number 14 says, what is the correct way to write sentence 5? Okay. So this is asking me to check punctuation, and it's also asking me to check my patterns. So let's go before we go to sentence 5, actually, I'm going to have some things that I'm always going to look for. I'm going to look for anything with a period, which, okay? Because if it doesn't have a question mark at the end of the sentence that starts with which, then it's wrong, okay? So I see a comma which, that's correct. So I don't see any period which. Another thing that I'm going to always look for is a comma pronoun. And remember, my pronouns are he, she, it, they, we. Because if I have a comma and a pronoun, then it's probably a run-on sentence if the first word of the sentence doesn't begin with a white bus word. Another thing I'm going to look for is, so this is usually wrong, comma these, comma those, comma that. It means that it's going to begin a new sentence. So again, I have to be very careful with these because it probably means that there's a run-on. I want to look for those and make sure it's not a run-on. Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to highlight sentence 5. This is question 14. Now remember, at any time in this video, pause so you can write down these notes. Number 15 says, what change, if any, needs to be made to sentence 11? All right. Change it to they. When they're asking me to change one pronoun to another pronoun, I must find the antecedent. That means the word, the pronoun is replacing. So if I go back to sentence 11, I'll probably have to read sentence 10 to find the antecedents. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to highlight sentence 11. Here it is. It could be stitched together to make a picnic blanket. and they're asking me to change it to they. Well, I have to figure out what is it talking about. So in sentence 10 it says, how about the old t-shirts you never wear anymore? It could be stitched together. So it is talking about the t-shirts. Okay? How about the old t-shirts you never wear anymore? It could be stitched together to make a picnic blanket. So I'm going to tell you that it is a pronoun for one thing. They is a pronoun used for more than one thing. Now let's look at my other options. Change stitched with a T to stitched without a T. This is spelling. And I'm going to use my dictionary. Insert a comma after together. This is punctuation. So let's look. It could be stitched together, comma, to make a picnic blanket. Now I have to decide if that comma is to go there. Okay? So let's go to number 16. What is the correct way to write sentences 12 and 13? Okay, so let's go to sentence 12 and 13. It says, or you could turn an old windbreaker into a bag to carry a swimsuit and towel to the beach. To carry a swimsuit and towel to the beach. To carry a swimsuit and towel to the beach. This is a fragment. Anytime I have a sentence that starts with the word to, I need more information. So this is a directory element. I need more information. To carry a swimsuit and towel to the beach. What? No. Okay. So then they're asking me to look at these these sentences. Okay. So we already know that this one is not correct because it's a fragment. I'm going to give you time in a minute to go back and answer all these questions, but I want you to be able to set them up, okay? Number 17. What change, if any, needs to be made in sentence 15? So, change, we're going to highlight sentence 15. Let's go back and highlight it. They're asking us about lent, your, and the question mark. So let's go back to sentence 15. They're asking us about lent, your, and here. This period. Okay, so anytime on my test, when they're asking me to change your to Y-O-U-R to Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, I need to know that this one is possession and this one is you-are. So if they're asking me to change it to you-are, what I need to do is I need to go find that your, and above it I'm going to write you-are. Okay? Like that. For this one, I'm going to use my dictionary. Now, these two are actually homophones. You're going to find both of these in the dictionary. So you have to look at the definition to decide which one goes there. Okay? Now, change the period to a question mark. Question marks end questions. Number 18. What change should be made in sentence 19? Delete the comma after plastic. This is punctuation. Change breaks to breaks. This is a dictionary. These are homophones, so I need to find both of them in the dictionary and look at the definition. This one's similar to your. ITS always is possessive. Ownership. IT''S always means it is. Always means it is. IT''S always means it is. So I'm going to go back, just like I did with your up here, and I'm going to find where it says it's, and I'm going to change it to it is to see if that's correct. So I'm going to go back to sentence 19. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to say it is. They ask me to delete the comma after plastic. And then they also asked me about breaks, this word. Okay? So those are my options there. Now for number 19. How should sentence 22 be changed? This one is spelling. I'm going to look in my dictionary. Insert a semicolon after landfills. I know that a semicolon is used with IC, semicolon, IC, period. Change protects to protects. This is plural. This just means more than one. And this means ownership. Now, anytime I'm wondering if something is being owned, okay, I'm going to go find the word protects, and I'm going to underline the word right after it. So let's do that right now. Let's go to sentence 22 and find the word protects. Here's the word protects. Now, there's the word natural resources, okay? So now I have to ask myself, is owning natural resources, or is protects just need to have an S? Is protects owning natural resources? If protects owns natural resources, then it needs an apostrophe. Now, it also protects natural resources. No, the natural resources do not belong to protects. So, we know that this one is not correct. Okay, so let's go find landfills and reduce. So it's asking us about reduce, and it's asking us to put in an apostrophe, a semicolon after landfills. Now, I want you to make note here. I'm going to draw an arrow because this is very important for you to know. Okay. When I have comma pronoun, it is usually a run-on. I have a pronoun in the middle of a sentence, with no punctuation, it is wrong. Okay? Now look at this. Here's a comma pronoun, but up here I have a white bus. So this is DC, comma, IC. Now when I have a comma pronoun, it's usually a run-on if there is no white bus word. Okay, So, remember your pronouns. He, she, it, they, we, our, my, me. Those are the most common ones, okay? So, when I have a pronoun in the middle of a sentence with no punctuation, it is wrong, okay? So, here's my pronoun in the middle of the sentence, and there's no punctuation. And upcycling doesn't just reduce the amount of trash that goes into our landfills. That's an IC. It also protects natural resources, such as oil and gas. That's an IC. So, that's number 19. Now for number 20. What changes, if any, should be made to sentence 29? Here again, spelling. Change Great Depression to Great Depression. This is capitalization. Change the comma to a semicolon. I know my C semicolon IC. No change should be made. So we're going to go back to sentence 29. Remember to pause the video if you need to. During the Great Depression in the 1930s, many families lived on a tight budget. So they're asking us about the spelling. They're asking if we should capitalize Great Depression. And they are asking if we should change this to a semicolon. Okay. Number 21. What change needs to be made in sentence 31? Change broken to broke. This is tense. Past tense or present. Became to becomes. This is tense. Okay. This is scraps to scrapes. This is word choice. Change was fashioned to were fashioned. If I have one thing, it was fashioned. If I have two things, they were fashioned. Was is singular. Were is plural. Okay? So this is singular or plural. So let's go back and highlight sentence 31. Flour sacks were used to make clothes. A broken door became a new table, and scraps from old clothing was fashioned into beautiful quilts. Number 22. What change, if any, should be made to sentence 33? Responsible with an A to responsible with an I is spelling. Delete the comma. Insert a comma after environment or no change. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to sentence 33. As responsible citizens, we should all be concerned with protecting our environment and budgeting our resources. As responsible citizens, we should all be concerned with protecting our environment and budgeting our resources. So, comma here, responsible, and the next thing it asked us is to delete the comma, which is here. What do we want to do with that comma? Okay, that is all for this passage. So now what I want you to do is read the passage, choose your answers, and then you will go to the Google form put your answers in, and then watch the next video to review the answer choices.